If you could create your own special ability in a rules-based horror story, how would you do it? I've been transported into a strange rules-based horror story. Here, the 100 chosen, lucky ones, have to create their own special ability. The catch is that you're monitored by the entire population. If anyone figures it out, you die. But I think I found a bug. The rules never mentioned a word count limit. 1 second ago, I was at home watching the Summit War, arguing about who was stronger, Akainu or Whitebeard. The next second, I was transported into this weird rules-based horror story. Several rules instantly popped into my head. I could understand all the other rules, except for the very last one. Honestly, that last rule is so useless you might as well have just given me 2 steamed buns instead. There's no guarantee they won't change the rules at any moment. When you're in a horror story, you just have to play along. I'd better hurry up and figure out how to create my own special ability. Looking around, I realize I'm in a modern-day parallel world. Looks like any illegal, disruptive, or massively destructive abilities are out of the question. Around me, the other 99 lucky ones, who were inexplicably brought to this world, are also completely lost. Luckily, we've been given plenty of time to create our abilities. I was thinking carefully about how to make my ability complex enough, when some idiot next to me suddenly yelled out, "Holy crap, I can turn invisible." As he finished speaking, the guy slowly vanished right before our eyes. I bet his ability is invisibility. The person in the crowd who guessed the answer jumped up and down with excitement. Meanwhile, the guy who couldn't keep his mouth shut died silently in front of everyone. Are you kidding me? Didn't you read the rules? How can there still be morons like that? With the death of the first, lucky one, the rest of us, aside from being terrified, finally understood. We absolutely cannot let the Watchers figure out our abilities. The problem is, we're all just ordinary people. We've been dropped into this horror world without even a place to live. The Watchers are everyone, every single person you might see. It's terrifying just to think about. Suddenly, I had an idea. The ability description can be as long as I want? As long as I can remember it myself? This is my chance. My ability has to meet a few conditions. 1. It has to be cool. What's the point of a special ability if it isn't flashy? 2. It needs to have some combat or defensive power, so if something unexpected happens, I can at least put up a fight. After all, this is a rules-based horror world. And 3. It needs to be a way to get money. Or, the ability itself could make it easy to get a job. But I decided to just go straight for the cash. It's less hassle that way. I've already been transported to another world. Who the hell wants to get a job? 4. It needs to be subtle. It absolutely cannot be something people can observe. And it needs to have enough hidden details to ensure that even if people get suspicious and try to piece it together, they can't. As for number 5, well, you'll just have to wait and see. So, my ability is, when I form, the tiger, ox, monkey, rabbit, rat, boar, rooster, ox, horse, dog, tiger, snake, ox, monkey, and rabbit hand signs, and shout, "Who repairs the great dam, ha?" My skin will gain absolute defense until the next time I urinate. My urine will inexplicably increase by 0.666 milliliters, and I will lose 5 strands of hair, 3 eyebrow hairs, and metabolize an additional 100 red blood cells. The moment the hair and eyebrow hairs land on the ground, 80 coli bacteria will be randomly generated somewhere in the world, along with 2 paramecia, and when the metabolization of the extra 100 red blood cells is complete, an H2O molecule will appear out of thin air, along with 990,000 yuan in my bank account. I learned Mr. Kisami's hand signs a long time ago. For these monitors, just researching that will take them a while, and since there's no limit on using our abilities, I definitely had to give it a try. With a great shout of "Great Waterfall," the surrounding monitors got incredibly excited. I know this jutsu. Water style. Great Waterfall Jutsu. His ability is the Great Waterfall Jutsu. When everyone saw that I didn't spit any water from my mouth, they started to analyze it. They wondered if I'd hidden something when I created the ability. Someone guessed my ability was just to do the hand signs without spitting water. Someone else guessed my ability was to spit water a certain amount of time after making the signs. There were all sorts of guesses. They guessed for a long time. Not a single one was even close. I couldn't be bothered with them. Anyway, they can't restrict our actions, they can only observe as passively. After a short delay, the remaining dozens of lucky ones, like me, also finished creating their abilities. Unfortunately, among them were a few young girls and an old man who didn't even really understand what an ability was. Naturally, they couldn't create anything worthwhile, and soon, with everyone chattering, their abilities were guessed, and they were erased by the world's will. There was one lucky one who was a pretty quick thinker. He created his ability to lower his presence to the point where no one could perceive him. Unfortunately for him, the monitors seemed to have been through this many times before. This nationwide guessing game, and even though none of them perceived that low presence, lucky one, the monitors still went through the motions as usual. They read out a long list of abilities that had troubled them in the past, one by one. Lowering one's presence was on that list. I couldn't delay any longer. I had to find a bathroom, fast. The second half of my ability hadn't activated yet. I need to find a place to stay tonight, and I want to eat a good dinner, too. In that short amount of time, another dozen or so of the lucky ones in the novice area had died. Those monitors are just too experienced. They've even organized professional teams to analyze our every move. Those few unfortunate, lucky ones who were erased died because of the monitor's playbook of past failures. These people listed off abilities like lowering presence, disappearing from sight, unseeable and unspeakable, and all other sorts of indescribable, rule-based abilities. Even though you can create any ability you want, you can't beat the will of this world of strange rules. Some of the more ridiculous abilities simply didn't work at all. For example, someone wanted to be able to return to the real world with just a hand gesture. Naturally, creating an ability like that failed. Things like immortality, or an ability where no one can kill you, of course those wouldn't work either. In the end, we're just toys dragged into this world of strange tales. For its amusement, the naive, lucky ones, who couldn't figure out that simple fact, are already dead and gone. I, on the other hand, had a pleasant trip to the bathroom. I withdrew the 990,000 yuan, and in the time it took to use the bathroom, all the lucky ones had finished creating their abilities. Just then, a new rule descended. Supplementary rule. Monitors, please return to your normal lives. Furthermore, you must not cause verbal disturbances. Guessers need only think of the answer silently in their minds. I'm quite satisfied with this rule. To be honest, being surrounded by a huge crowd of people guessing at you every day, it's like they're watching a monkey in a zoo. Good thing I don't have social anxiety. Otherwise, just being stared at like this would be worse than being wiped out. I'm sure someone's noticed the extra 990,000 that appeared in my bank account. But so what? The most anyone could guess is that I performed some kind of ritual. Hey, oh, he just got 990,000 out of nowhere. Dead wrong. I doubt anyone could observe me so closely that they'd know how many strands of hair I lost in the bathroom. Or how many eyebrows, and I'm certainly not worried about forgetting the details myself. The easiest thing to mess up would be the hand seals, but I remember them perfectly. 0.666. As a good buddy of mine, of course I wouldn't forget it. My birthday is May 3rd. So, 5 strands of hair, 3 eyebrows. 5 plus 3 equals 8 E. coli. 5 minus 3 equals 2 paramecia. And 100 hemoglobin, all for 990,000 and a single drop of water. Perfect. When I came out of the bathroom, I saw the lucky few who were still alive. They'd already gathered in small groups to guarantee their own safety, for now. Naturally, I had to see what all the commotion was about. The person speaking in the middle of the crowd was a man in a suit and tie, urging everyone to help one another. He said we should band together to face this bizarre situation. A few people responded to his call, but most of them just watched in silence. Besides just surviving, the immediate problem everyone faced was what they were going to eat that night, and where they were going to sleep. A few people probably had powers related to making money, but no one was willing to use them at a time like this. The more you use your power, the more you reveal. No matter how you edit reality, you always leave a trail. It's not worth exposing your ability just to solve a temporary problem. Besides, the rules clearly stated that in the end, only one of us would survive. So much for the suspension bridge effect. We're all opponents here. The man in the suit saw that things weren't going according to his plan. He was practically jumping up and down, trying to get everyone to unite. But he had very little success. That's when an old man stepped up and stabilized the situation. He said, "None of us wants to die, but it's too hard to unite. After all, only one of us can live in the end. So I propose we form small groups. If someone is unfortunate enough to die, the others in their group will bring their last words back to the real world. Everyone thought about it for a moment, and most of them agreed with the old man's suggestion. But then another problem came up. Everyone was so poor they only had the clothes on their backs. They couldn't even exchange contact information. And even if they wanted to write a will, they didn't have a pen or paper. Well, isn't this the perfect time for me to show off? I'll get everyone a phone. That'll make it easy to stay in touch and make arrangements. I'll take care of the money. I feel pretty safe right now, so it doesn't hurt to be a little generous. I've got 990,000 on hand, after all. How many phones can that buy? And if it's not enough, I'll just go take another leak. So I led everyone who was willing to entrust their last words straight to the mall. We had to hit up several phone stores before we had enough for everyone. As for the few people who didn't want to associate with the group and quietly left, of course, no one paid them any mind. Luckily, even though this bizarre world didn't let us bring any money, we still had our ID cards. It was a hassle getting the SIM cards activated, but after setting up more than a dozen different group chats, large and small, at 2:36 p.m., we finally got all of the dozens of survivors connected. The old man's proposal to move around in small teams also got a positive response from everyone. With 3 to 5 people together, at least we can look out for each other. While we were at the mall, I went to the bathroom again. Supplementary rule. The world gets a big screen. All guesses about the superpower users will appear on the big screen, except for those whose powers are completely figured out, who will be eliminated directly. Each day, the superpower user with the highest suspicion level and the most matching information will be eliminated. As the rule was announced, a large screen materialized out of thin air in the sky. On it were the names of all of us. Ranked at the very bottom were the people who had almost been completely figured out. Right now, the person at the bottom has the power of teleportation. 5 out of 200. The activation condition has already been guessed. Tao Yang Sahri. Lu Yang Powrey. 0200s. Vi Map 6. Drawing the letter D with a finger. What's missing is the distance. In conditions like the medium it can pass through. But these watchers are everywhere. High-speed cameras, big data, they used everything they could. It was only a matter of time before this guy's power was exposed, unless he never used it again. Tang CQI. This guy is also in our group. Tang CQI's face is now deathly pale. He's in a complete panic. The people ranked behind him don't look too good either. The original plan to form small teams was completely disrupted by the appearance of the big screen. No one was willing to team up with that teleporting guy, Lu Yang. Most people came to me, saying they were willing to team up. And they would do their best to help me hide my power. I'm the one here who spends money most freely. You have to spend money to eat, drink, and live, right? And it takes time to monetize a superpower. Of course, finding someone with ready cash is the best option. In the end, I chose a cool and distant girl, an anime-loving boy, and a high school student. I invited that old man, but he politely declined. He felt there was a generation gap with us young people, making communication difficult. He chose to team up with a few others his age. In the end, I brought that guy named Lu Yang over. If you don't use your power for now, you can survive by betting that others will be figured out more than you. Thank you for taking me in, brother Gongsheng. Cut the crap. Now that you're on the team, just follow my lead. Let's survive this together. On the screen, I'm ranked second. After all, I've exposed some superficial things. The watchers have gathered a lot of information. Hand signs, damn, who likes to go to the bathroom? 990,000 is already so much. And I can still rank second. The cool and distant girl is named Lin Shui, she's ranked first. The anime-loving boy is named Chen Cheng, ranked 11th. That high school student, Lu Yimo, is ranked 16th. And Lu Yang, needless to say, is ranked last. The names below his are already grayed out. They aren't included in the rankings. They've all had their powers figured out and been eliminated. My name is Gong Sheng. Tonight, let's first have a good meal, then find a comfortable place to stay. No matter what happens tomorrow, tonight we have to live like actual people. The previous supplementary rule prevents the watchers from disturbing our normal lives. That solved a huge problem. Otherwise, a crowd would be watching us while we eat, shouting and yelling from time to time. I found a magnificent grand hotel. I got a private room. Getting a private room isn't a problem, as long as you're willing to pay. When it was time to order, I perfectly embodied the spirit of the nouveau riche. Whatever was expensive, I ordered it. Whatever I hadn't seen before, I ordered it. I was just someone who wasn't afraid to spend money. Lin Shui seemed to come from a good family back in our world. At least, I couldn't tell if she was having a hard time adjusting. Chen Cheng and Lu Yimo are just kids from ordinary families too, so they were also amazed by a feast like this. As for Lu Yang, he was so weighed down by the death count on the leaderboard that he didn't even have the heart to eat. If there's anything you want to leave behind, or any last words you want to say, now's the time to write them down. I handed him a notebook and a pen. None of us are saints. The whole point of us sticking together, isn't it, so that when someone dies, their final words can be taken back to our world? Lu Yang was still hesitating. None of us tried to convince him. We weren't close to begin with. It was just an alliance of convenience. Better to look out for yourself. Lu Yang silently put the notebook away and ate his food without saying a word. Compared to him, the rest of us were much more cheerful. I even ordered a bottle of wine to celebrate a little. To celebrate the formation of our little team. But even as confident as I wasn't arrogant enough to think my special ability would be the last one to be revealed. Rather than live in constant fear, I'd rather use the abilities I have to enjoy myself while I can. Living until the end would be great, of course. But even if some god-tier player does show up and defeat me, I can't die on an empty stomach, right? When we came out of the hotel, we all instinctively looked up at the screen in the sky. The others' rankings hadn't changed, but Lu Yang had jumped to 79. The last place was 80. The cheerful mood was suddenly dampened. In just that short time, 3 more people were gone. We found a luxurious hotel and checked in. Our little team's ranking was probably the most stable, thanks to me having more money at the start. So we didn't have to reveal too many of our special abilities, especially with my ranking on the money leaderboard. Plus, with the pressure of seeing names constantly disappear from the rankings, we all had a silent agreement to stop using our abilities. Unfortunately, this bizarre world wasn't going to let us have it that easy. The next morning at 8 o'clock, number 79 was eliminated. Lu Yang became number 73, and a new rule was added. Ability users must use their special ability more than 3 times each day. Otherwise, they will be eliminated. By the time lunch came around, Lu Yang handed the notebook to me. Brother Gongsheng, I don't think I'm going to make it through today. My dad's phone number is written in the notebook. Brother Gongsheng, if you make it out of here, please help me call him and give him this notebook. Just tell him, his son was ungrateful and can't take care of him in his old age anymore. His eyes were brimming with tears. For a split second, I suddenly felt incredibly sad, and I even felt guilty for my own cleverness. But just then, 2 more names vanished from the sky, and my fleeting guilt vanished in an instant. If I make it out, I'll make sure he gets it. If I fail too, I'll pass the notebook to someone else, until it reaches the hands of the very last survivor. A new rule was added today. Everyone had to use their special ability at least 3 times. Lu Yang said he couldn't hide it any longer, he would definitely be exposed. After the meal, he came with me to the bathroom. He teleported from one stall to another. Then, he silently collapsed onto the toilet. Those bastards even installed surveillance cameras in the bathroom. I walked back to the dining table alone in silence. The other 2 understood immediately. Lu Yang was gone. We opened another bottle of wine to mourn our short-lived teammate. The giant screen had been optimized. We don't have to look at the sky outside anymore. We can see everyone's names just by looking up. 3 boxes have been added next to them. Mine already has 2 checkmarks. That means I've already used my power twice. Chen Cheng has 1 checkmark, from when he just stepped out of our sight. I don't know what his power is, either. Lu Yimo disappeared for a few seconds right in front of us. That also got him 1 checkmark. Lin Shui's 3 checkmarks are all filled. I didn't notice anything unusual during that time. By dinner time, we had all completed our mission to use our powers. That whole, no cost, and unlimited uses, was a total joke. Now everyone wishes they didn't have powers at all. They wish they never had to use them, terrified that someone will figure them out. There are only 57 names left on the leaderboard. All the others have turned gray. Chen Cheng is dead, not because someone figured out his power, but because he was killed by another person with powers. On the 3rd day, there was a new rule update. Supplemental rule. If a person with powers, by any means, manages to identify another power user's ability, they will be granted a 3-day period of absolute protection. This period cannot be stacked. This meant that we, lucky ones, were now encouraged to attack each other. We no longer had to follow the laws of this world. Humans are masters at interpreting rules. Capturing and interrogating other power users takes time. A 3-day protection period is good. But if you just kill off all the other power users, leaving only yourself, then there'd be no more guessing, right? The moment the new rule dropped, we were attacked. Chen Cheng was walking on the outermost edge of our group. He was the one who got hit. I never did find out what his power was. Fortunately, he wrote a farewell letter the day before. It's resting quietly in my pocket. Lu Yimo's ability to vanish in an instant saved his life. I dropped a massive roadblock. Wonder who's gonna fix that? I activated absolute defense and dragged Lin Shui into the nearest police station. People with powers can hurt each other, but they can't harm anyone else in this world. This game is truly vicious. A power that's concealable and harmless gets you attacked by other power users. But a big, powerful ability is too easy to guess. No matter how you look at it, it's a death sentence. Fortunately, even though my power has no attack strength, it's pretty good at soaking up damage. But what in the world is Lin Shui's power? She's still ranked first, and the suspicion progress on her is a terrifying 0%. And she's already completed her 3 required uses for today. This whole day, names on the big screen have been turning gray one after another. We've just been shivering in the police station, hiding for the whole day. There are only 31 people left now. Lu Yimo's rank has dropped to 30th. We went our separate ways with a silent understanding. He's young, but he's not stupid. He wants to survive. The only way he has a chance is to drag the 30 people ahead of him down. Of course, we weren't going to stay next to someone on the verge of going insane. Most importantly, none of us understand his power. A clean break was the best option right then. He wasn't confident, or maybe he hadn't yet resolved to kill me and Lin Shui. And I wasn't exactly eager to get blood on my hands either. After all, I'm still relatively safe for now. I can't just wander all over the world anymore. I need to consider getting a hiding place. While at the police station, I contacted a security company. I hired 20 cars and 50 bodyguards. Being rich means you can be as willful as you want. Escorted by a group of bodyguards, Lin Shui and I successfully arrived at a real estate office. Getting my own villa to set up. Enough security can both block the watcher's line of sight and defend against other ability users. Trespassing and planting surveillance devices in someone's home are both illegal. At worst, I'll let those watchers analyze my sewage to see what's so different about my pee. Lin Shui, now that it's temporarily safe outside. As the number 1 on the leaderboard, I think we need to have a serious talk. I'm sure Lin Shui can't kill me, but the final PK round is based on suspicion levels. She hasn't revealed any information yet, while I've already been exposed by 12%. The one who dies in the end will be me. But I don't want to die. Lin Shui is a smart person. She naturally understood what I was saying. Seriously, why did you choose to team up with me in the beginning? Was it really just because I'm rich? In the initial setup phase, I evaluated the behavioral patterns of every participant. The data indicated that you had the highest chance of winning. I only make choices I'm certain about. Ha ha ha, you've got to be kidding. Making a wild guess sounds so sophisticated. You're pretty slick with these mind games, huh? Don't disbelieve me, I minored in clinical psychology. In my judgment, I have never been wrong about a person. What's the use of being a good judge of character? What if the ability I chose is garbage? It could be figured out in minutes, and that psychology of yours wouldn't save my life. Obviously, you didn't, and based on my past experiences, my luck has always been pretty good. I fell silent. We're in a game of bizarre rules, and you're over here talking about metaphysics? Why? What I was asking was, since she thought I could win, why did she get close to me? Because my ability is actually very ordinary. I have no ability to protect myself. In this cruel game, I need someone who can survive until the very end to provide protection, but I have a reason I must go back. Or rather, I have some critical information that must be brought back. This isn't just for my own personal survival. In other words, certain information must be brought back. It could be by me personally, Or it could be by someone I trust. So the person you chose was me. Lin Shui told me that this kind of game with bizarre rules has appeared more than once. The country has been, in places we don't know about, researching it for a very, very long time. Lin Shui is a member of this research team. All that stuff she was saying about quantum, space-time, neutrinos, and whatever. I didn't understand a single word, but I knew one thing. Her research team had never been able to, from within the world of bizarre rules, bring back any information. All the data they currently have was obtained from the mouths of survivors. Now that she's been lucky enough to get in here, she has collected a massive amount of data and needs someone to bring this information back. On the big screen, Lin Shui's ability suspicion level suddenly jumped by 50%. When she handed me that USB drive, the Watchers discovered a part of her ability. It wasn't just the Watchers, I could also faintly guess what it was. Collecting data isn't just done with your eyes, right? A scientist would definitely have her own scientific methods of detection. Lin Shui's special ability gives her this power. I promise you. Lin Shui cracked a smile. We settled down in the villa. Although the bodyguards are also monitoring us, they can hold off those ability users who've gone insane. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. For Lin Shui, her suspicion meter keeps going up. I'm afraid she won't live to see tomorrow. I feel like I have to help Lin Shui now. What a strange world this is, toying with people's minds. Those two are a married couple. Guess based on what's written here. Check them one by one. I have a feeling we should be able to guess it correctly. I gave Lin Shui a slip of paper. On it were the abilities I guessed. I need to buy her a 3-day safe period. HMPH, you've got to be kidding me. What on earth is this stuff? Would someone really, in a life or death situation, create such a nonsensical ability? You don't understand the world of trolls and game masters. If you guess according to this, you're bound to hit one. Lin Shui was hesitant. Finally, under my insistence, she tried guessing. Lungs will inhale 10% more gas than normal. Hey, don't guess me. I'm a water-style ninja. I told you to guess one by one. Skip me and then start. Ah, my bad, I forgot. When she guessed the 9th one, that lucky person's progress bar jumped by 20%. It completely collapsed. Lin Shui hesitated again. 50%. Do we really have to do this? If we guess correctly, that person will die. Is it really okay for us to do this? I'm the one who told you to kill. I'll take the responsibility. It has nothing to do with you. In this cruel game, this kind of sacrifice has immense value. Lin Shui took a deep breath. I understand. What's the next guess? First, adjust the percentage. Lin Shui continued guessing. Adjusted the percentage of inhaled gas. No, that's the wrong direction. I continued to guide her through constant trial and error. By the time the takeout arrived at noon, that person's name had turned gray. Lin Shui's name was shining with a golden light. His ability was that with every breath, the oxygen content inhaled into his lungs is 3% more than normal. My heart was filled with guilt, and Lin Shui's even more so. But data still needs to be collected. Some negative emotions have to be suppressed for the greater good. That night, Lu Yimo's name turned gray. We didn't even know if he was killed or if his ability was guessed. I received over 30 last letters or various items at my door. These people are pinning their last wishes on me. Humans, what strange creatures. They trust me, but they have no intention of letting any opportunity pass to take me out. When they realize they really can't kill me, they just openly hand over their last testaments. Some of them were even trying to kill each other just a moment before. And the next moment, the one who is about to die will give their last letter to the person who killed them. Lin Shui asked for the flash drive. She's using a hard drive now. Her progress bar is stuck at 50%, limited by the 3-day safe period. The ability users outside have become even more chaotic. What surprised me was that old man who first suggested everyone stick together is actually still alive. You ask how I know? I paid for the information, of course. While the bodyguards outside were monitoring me, the gate was also making some extra cash off of me. Well, it's not like they don't have to make a living too. They have to survive in their world too. On the last day of the spirit protection period, the big screen showed the most intense shake-up of the final phase. Except for a few unlucky guys who made things too complicated and forgot their powers had been wiped. Most importantly, a real sneaky player emerged. The bodyguards brought back news. This sneaky player's ability is perception. He can sense the energy generated when others use their abilities, and from that, deduce the ability's effect, power, and method. This guy has been silently gathering data. He waited until the final circle to drop a bombshell, due to the rule that the safety protection period can't be stacked. He gave the information to the natives. In an instant, more than half the names on the leaderboard were gone. But he wasn't very safe himself, because his big move exposed his own ability. Once his 3-day protection period is over, it's his execution day. On the morning that Lin Shui's protection period expired, 2 people returned to my villa. One was that old man, and the other was the sneaky player with the perception ability. Now, only the 4 of us are left on the leaderboard. The sneaky player's safety protection period still has 2 days left. He's the safest one. The old man's suspicion level is also at 50%. Lin Shui gave me the hard drive, and with it, there was a piece of paper. Gong Sheng, it read, "My suspicion level is constantly rising. I can't hide my ability any longer. Before long, the big screen will announce all of my information, even if I'm not guessed correctly. After tomorrow, the person in last place will be wiped out anyway. Gong Sheng, just make the guess. Use my death in exchange for 3 days of absolute safety for yourself. That's enough. Every extra day of life is a win. I've ordered a deluxe dinner. Let's eat first and talk later," the old man chimed in with a chuckle. That's right. Nothing in the world is more important than eating. Young man, can you let this old timer join in? I didn't refuse the old man's request and invited the sneaky player over as well. The sneaky player was named Zhang Feng, and the old man was Lu Jiangguo. After a thoroughly enjoyable meal, I had the bodyguards bring in a mahjong table. Whose turn is it? Haha, dots. I casually used my ability then, to complete today's task. After all, the people in this room right now are the only ones left from our world. Lin Shui left. She left without a sound. She didn't say goodbye to me, but I still felt a little bit sad. A female scientist, sigh. If it had been an old man with graying hair and a beard, I wouldn't have given him the time of day, even if he were Einstein. Zhang Feng got himself killed before his protection period was even over. He couldn't perceive the details of my ability, so he attacked me. He forgot I had just activated my powers and hadn't discharged them yet. He didn't hurt me, but instead accidentally injured the young girl who was helping me draw tiles. The rule about not violating the laws and regulations of the current world has a higher priority than the safety protection period rule. And the young girl was a minor. Zhang Feng was immediately wiped out. The old man and I played Chinese chess all night, because we both knew about the mandatory PK the next day. His progress was 22% higher than mine. He was at 50%. We played all night long. The old man, my chess opponent, passed away very peacefully. I suspect sleepiness was one of the reasons. In the end, I found out what his ability was. The old man said, "I'm not even afraid of people in this world hearing about the ability I used to attack him anymore. After all, it's the best ability I could think of. Taking 100 steps after a meal. To live to 99, that 50% progress just means taking 100 steps." I lay quietly on the bed, waiting to return, hoping the will of the rule story world keeps its word and lets me take everything I earned in this world with me. The hard drive is just a minor bonus. The giant villa and over 2 billion in my bank card are what really matter. Seriously, God knows how many hand seals I've made. My hand speed is even faster than Kakashi's. Completely spent, my consciousness slowly faded into darkness. Vaguely, I could hear the howling of the wind. The sound was getting closer and closer. I tried my best to make it out. And then, I finally heard it. Welcome to the world of rule stories. Just a second before my consciousness faded into darkness, I was still wondering how I should spend those over 2 billion on that bank card, and whether I should turn the villa's pool into a heated one. Then, that voice saying, "Welcome to the world of rule stories," exploded in my head like a thunderclap, making my eardrums ring with pain. Wait, didn't they say if I survived to the very end, I could take everything back to the real world? Is this world's will cheating me or what? I snapped my eyes open, and the scene before me was a world apart from the previous modern parallel world. There was no magnificent villa, no attentive bodyguards, and I couldn't even feel the hard drive and bank card I had tucked in my pocket. They were gone. I was still wearing the same loungewear from when I first crossed over. The only silver lining was that every single detail about my ability in my head I remembered word for word. These numbers are carved into my brain. more familiar to me than my own birthday. I raised my hand and pinched my cheek. The pain felt real. I wasn't dreaming. Looking around, I found myself in a massive circular arena. The arena floor was made of cold black metal, surrounded by tiers of stands. But there were no spectators in the stands, only a thick, gray mist. In the mist, I could vaguely see countless pairs of eyes staring intently at us in the center of the arena. That's right, us. Besides me, there were 11 other people standing around in groups of 2 or 3, each with the same shock on their face. And a trace of raw ferocity from having crawled out of a life and death struggle. I didn't even need to think to know that these people were probably just like me. All survivors who made it to the very end of different rule stories. And now, we've fallen right into the second trap set by the world's will. Sure enough, in the next second, a cold mechanical voice echoed in every corner of the arena, sounding exactly like the rule prompts from before. But this time, the content was even colder and more ruthless. Round 2 of the rule story, Superpower Showdown. Rule 1. All participants are winners of previous stories and retain the superpowers they unlocked there. Superpowers will keep their original activation conditions, effects, and side effects. The world's will perform a secondary verification. Those who forget their abilities will be instantly obliterated. Rule 2. There is no spectator guessing phase in this game. Participants must use their superpower showdowns to defeat all other opponents. Rule 3. During the game, you may use your own abilities and resources from the rule story world. The use of real-world items is strictly prohibited. Violators will be instantly obliterated. Rule 4. The arena will randomly spawn rule cards. Those who pick up a card can temporarily modify a single rule, effective only once. Card effects cannot be stacked. Rule 5. There are no team restrictions this round. Alliances and betrayals are permitted. An alliance is only effective after both parties turn and confirm. The betrayed party will gain 50% of the betrayer's ability strength. Rule 6 overrides all other rules. The last surviving participant will become the successor to the world's will and gain control over all the supernatural worlds. Override all rules. You can choose to return to the real world with all of your gains. And never again be marked by the supernatural. Rule 7. There are no laws or regulations in this round. All actions are permitted. Survival is the only principle. Rule 8. The Battle Royale now officially begins. Countdown. 72 hours. The moment the mechanical voice faded, the ground of the arena began to creak and groan. A dozen or so cards, glowing with a blue light, floated up from the cracks in the ground, scattering randomly into every corner. At the same time, a piece of information instantly appeared in my mind. Everything I brought from the last supernatural event hadn't disappeared. Instead, it was temporarily sealed away by the world's will. As long as I can survive to the end of this battle royale, I'll not only get back my wealth and the hard drive, but I'll also gain the power to control these supernatural phenomena. As for that hard drive from Lin Shui, I'm only now realizing what she gave me. It wasn't just research data from the last event. I suspect it also holds secrets about the world's will. But before I had a chance to look at it, a cold voice cut in. Hey, the world's will. So it's just treating us like pawns. Playing with us round after round until it gets bored. The one who spoke was a man in a black trench coat. He was leaning against one of the arena's metal pillars, a dagger with a cold glint held between his fingers. His eyes swept over everyone present, filled with deep suspicion. He reeked of blood. Clearly, in the last supernatural event, he survived through sheer slaughter. Another person, a kid who looked to be only 12 or 13, licked his lips, his eyes fixed on the rule cards. His voice was childish, yet laced with a sinister cruelty. Who cares what kind of game this is? Whoever survives to the end is the boss. And I'm taking all of those cards. With that, the kid pushed off from his feet, his body instantly becoming a blur. He dashed toward the nearest card, but the moment he moved, a large, burly man next to him also sprang into action. His arm instantly swelled to several times its size, and he threw a punch at the kid's back, roaring, "You little brat. You dare try to snatch things from me?" The kid seemed to have anticipated it, swerving sharply. He dodged the big man's fist and simultaneously flicked his hand. A silver thread shot from his fingertip, wrapping around the big man's wrist. The big man cried out in pain and let out a furious roar. He strained his arm, trying to snap the thread, But the thread was incredibly tough, and instead, it only wrapped tighter. In the blink of an eye, the two of them were locked in a fight. The others immediately sprang into action as well. Some rushed for the cards. Others observed their opponents, while some launched attacks on those closest to them. The arena instantly descended into chaos. Flashes of light from different abilities flared up one after another. Battle cries and screams echoed non-stop. I stood where I was, not moving. It wasn't because I was scared, but because I was analyzing the situation. There were 11 opponents here. Every single one of them had crawled their way out of a life or death game. Their abilities were definitely not to be underestimated, and to have survived until the end means their abilities are either bizarre and powerful, or their minds are meticulous and ruthless, or perhaps they possess both. My advantage right now is that my special ability is absolute defense. As long as I form the hand seal and shout the command, I can remain in a defensive state until the next time I have to urinate, and the minor details that come with my ability, like generating E. coli and paramecium, are things my opponents would never expect or sense. This is my hidden card, but my disadvantage is also obvious. My ability has no offensive power, only defense. To defeat an opponent, I can only rely on my wits, on the rule cards, or on forming alliances and then backstabbing them. Also, the duration of that absolute defense depends entirely on when I have to urinate. If an opponent discovers this, it will become my fatal flaw. So the wisest course of action right now isn't to rashly charge in and grab a card. It's not to confront others head-on, but to first find a hidden spot. Observe each opponent's ability, and find their weaknesses. At the same time, I'll wait for the right moment to pick up a rule card, to gain an advantage for myself. There are many metal covers around the arena. I took advantage of a gap in the chaotic battle and moved quickly, hiding behind a huge metal shield. This shield was probably left over from the last game. It's thick enough to block most ability attacks. After I was hidden, I started to carefully observe the situation on the field, memorizing each opponent's ability and characteristics. That man in the black trench coat, his ability must be related to speed. His movements are absurdly fast, and his dagger can easily cut through the skin of that muscular man. The dagger is clearly enhanced by his ability too. For now, I'll call him the speedster. That 12 or 13-year-old kid's ability is to control silver threads. The threads are tough and corrosive. The big man's arm has already been corroded, leaving bloody holes. For now, I'll call him the silk kid. The big muscular man's ability is body enlargement. His strength is immense, and his skin is tough and thick. The corrosion from the threads is just a minor injury to him. For now, I'll call him the giant brute. There's also a woman in a white dress. Her ability is healing. She can instantly heal her own and others' wounds. Two men are gathered around her, forming an alliance. They want to use her healing ability to fight a war of attrition. For now, I'll call her the healer. A scholarly-looking man with glasses is holding a notebook. Whatever he writes in the notebook, the corresponding person will suffer the designated punishment. For example, he wrote that someone's left leg would cramp, and the man who was rushing to grab a card instantly fell to the ground, his left leg twitching uncontrollably. This ability is extremely bizarre. For now, I'll call him Notebook Man. There's also a bald man who can summon various firearms out of thin air. Pistols, rifles, sniper rifles, you name it. But they just spark when they hit the metal floor. For now, I'll call him the Bald Gunner. The remaining few also have their own abilities. There's a firewoman who can control flames, a waterbender who can control water currents, an invisible man who can turn invisible, and a seer who can predict the short-term future. There's also a middle-aged woman who looks completely ordinary, just standing in one spot. She's not grabbing cards or attacking anyone, just calmly watching everyone. Her presence is so low she's almost negligible. For now, I'll call her the Plain Woman. These people's abilities are either extremely offensive or have bizarre support effects. By contrast, while my absolute defense is a secret, it's still going to be tough to win. Just as I was observing, that notebook guy seemed to have spotted me hiding behind cover. He glanced in my direction, the corner of his mouth curling into a cold smirk, while the pen in his hand scribbled something furiously in his notebook. My heart skipped a beat, and I reacted instantly. I immediately threw up my barrier. The moment I did, an invisible barrier instantly enveloped me. At almost the same time, I felt like an invisible hand was clutching my throat. I couldn't breathe, and a sharp pain shot through my head. Clearly, the notebook guy had written something about me in his notebook. But because my absolute defense took effect, most of his power's effect was cancelled out. All that remained was a faint sense of pain. The notebook guy saw that I was okay, and a flash of surprise crossed his eyes. He clearly didn't expect my defensive power to be this strong. He frowned, about to write something more, but he was targeted by that fire girl. She raised her hand and with a single motion, a huge fireball shot towards the notebook guy as she yelled, "No more cheap shots. I'm taking you out first, you're too much trouble." The notebook guy had to give up on attacking me. He quickly wrote in his notebook, "Fireball, dissipate." The approaching fireball instantly turned into a wisp of blue smoke and vanished without a trace. Seeing this, the fire girl let out a furious roar. She launched several more fireballs at the notebook guy, and the two immediately started fighting. I breathed a sigh of relief, but at the same time, I became even more vigilant. That notebook guy's power is too tricky. He needs to be taken care of soon. Otherwise, he'll become a threat to everyone. And just at that moment, I noticed a rule card floating not too far away from me. The blue light on the card was especially dazzling, and the card's effect instantly appeared in my mind. Temporarily modify rule. Conditions for activating powers are temporarily disabled. Duration: 5 minutes. This card is basically a godsend. If I can get it, then for those 5 minutes, all of my opponents won't be able to use their powers. And since I've already activated absolute defense, as long as my defensive state doesn't disappear, I'll be able to do whatever I want during that time. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I took a look at the situation on the field. Everyone was busy fighting one another. No one had noticed the card, and that invisible person seemed to be moving in the card's direction. He was clearly after it, too. I can't let him get it. Although my power isn't for attacking, I've still got my legs. I used every ounce of my strength and sprinted towards that card. The invisible person was fast, but I was closer to it. Just as his hand was about to touch the card, I lunged forward and snatched the card. The card felt cold in my hand, and a wave of information instantly flooded my mind. It confirmed the card's effect and also told me how to use it. All I have to do is crush the card, and the effect will activate instantly. The invisible person didn't expect me to charge out suddenly, and he was obviously furious. An invisible attack shot toward me, hitting my absolute defense barrier. It made a dull thud, but the barrier didn't move an inch. Clutching the card, I grinned in the direction of the invisible man. "Thanks for that, buddy. I'll be taking this card now." With that said, I crushed the card in my hand without hesitation. Rule card activated. All participants' ability activation conditions are temporarily nullified. Duration: 5 minutes. The countdown begins now. The instant the mechanical voice sounded, all the glowing auras from the abilities in the arena vanished. All the people who were in the middle of fighting froze right where they stood. The fire woman's fireball stopped in midair, dissipating into a wisp of smoke. The water jutsu guy's stream of water instantly hit the floor, splashing everywhere. The speedster's dagger slipped from his hand, falling onto the metal floor. It made a crisp sound as it landed. The juggernaut's bulging arms instantly returned to their normal size. He fell to the ground from the inertia, and the Silk Master's silver threads instantly broke. They drifted down through the air as the healing woman's healing light disappeared. The two men by her side instantly lost their protection and were caught off guard by the bald gunner nearby. They collapsed on the spot. The notebook guy's pen was frozen on his notepad. He couldn't write a single word more. The look of triumph on his face instantly turned to one of horror. The bald gunner's sniper rifle disappeared from his hands. He was stunned, not knowing what to do. The seer's eyes, which had been closed, snapped open, his face filled with confusion. The invisible woman was still standing in the same spot, but a barely noticeable flicker of surprise flashed in her eyes. And as for the invisible man, his ability was nullified, and his form instantly appeared. He was a tall, skinny man, his face contorted with rage. He was glaring at me viciously. 5 minutes is more than enough time to do a lot of things. I knew this was my only chance. Within these 5 minutes, I had to eliminate some of my toughest opponents to pave the way for my survival later on. My first target was the notebook guy. His ability is way too freaky. Given the chance, he could easily eliminate everyone. I had to get rid of him first. I charged toward the notebook guy. Since his ability was nullified, he was completely defenseless. His only option was to turn and run, but his speed was no match for mine. I caught up to him in just a few steps and landed a solid kick to his back. I sent him sprawling to the ground. The notebook guy turned his head to look at me. His eyes were filled with fear, and he screamed, "You can't kill me. I can form an alliance with you. I can help you take out everyone." I sneered, "An alliance? Yeah, right, I don't trust people like you." I bent down and picked up the pen from the ground. I drove it straight into his chest. The notebook guy's body instantly stiffened. The light in his eyes slowly faded as his soul was drawn away by the world's will. His body dissolved into a wisp of smoke and disappeared from the arena. After dealing with the notebook guy, my second target was the bald gunner. He's too dangerous offensively, plus he has all kinds of guns. His ability is useless now, but if I wait for it to come back, I'll be in a lot of trouble. The bald gunner was hiding behind a barrier. He was trying to get his guns back, but he found it was completely useless. As I rushed over, he picked up a metal pipe from the ground and swung it at me. I raised my arm to block it and hit him back with a punch to the face. I broke his nose. The bald gunman cried out in pain and fell to the ground. I didn't give him a chance. I lifted my foot and stomped hard on his head a few times, until his body dissolved into green smoke. Next up was that silk spinner kid. This kid is vicious, and his ability is extremely tricky to deal with. Leaving him alive would just be a disaster. The silk spinner kid was trying to hide in a crack in the arena. I quickly chased after him. He turned his head to look at me. His eyes were filled with venom. "You dare kill me? Once my powers recover, I'll definitely chop you into mincemeat." I grabbed his arm and lifted him up, and slammed him hard onto the metal floor. "You won't get the chance." The kid's body was light. That one slam broke several of his bones. His body also vanished in a wisp of green smoke. In just 2 minutes, I had taken care of the 3 trickiest opponents. The others in the arena were all terrified by my brutality. They all kept their distance, not daring to come near me. As for that invisible guy, while I was dealing with the others, he had secretly slipped away and hidden on the other side of the arena. Obviously afraid I would come after him, I glanced over. The countdown showed 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. For the remaining time, I didn't kill anyone else. Instead, I started collecting the rule cards scattered everywhere. I had crushed one earlier. There were still quite a few cards in the arena. I quickly picked up 4 of them. They were: temporarily modify the rules, increase your own ability strength by 100%, duration 3 minutes, temporarily modify the rules, block one opponent's ability perception, duration 10 minutes, temporarily modify the rules, transfer the side effect of your own ability to an opponent, single use, temporarily modify the rules, the arena will randomly spawn a creepypasta, world rare resource. These 4 cards each had their own use. They could save my life at a critical moment. Just as I picked up the last card, the countdown ended. The effects of the rule cards wore off. All participants' abilities returned to normal. The mechanical voice sounded again. The glow of abilities lit up the arena once more. The remaining opponents all looked at me with fear and vigilance, especially the Flame Woman and Su Ren. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. They clearly saw me as the biggest threat. The healer woman suddenly spoke, her voice ice cold. "Kid, you killed my man. I want your life." Earlier, when I dealt with the bald gunman, I also took out one of his allies. She clearly held a grudge against me for it. The healer woman had another ally with her, the one who could see the future. The seer looked at me and began to speak. "I saw it. I saw it. You will die by fire and sharp blades." I sneered. "Is that so? Then I'll just have to see how accurate your prediction is." I sneered again. Once more, I formed a hand sign and shouted the slogan. I confirmed the echo defense was still active, and since I haven't taken a leak yet, my absolute defense is in full effect. Their attacks can't hurt me at all. Fire Woman waved her hand, and several giant fireballs came hurtling toward me. Su Ren, on the other hand, zipped forward, charging at me with a dagger in his hand. The dagger gleamed with a cold light. It was obviously enhanced by his ability. Meanwhile, the healer woman stayed in the back, applying a healing effect to both of them. It was to prevent them from getting hurt. The fireballs crashed against my absolute defense barrier. They made dull thudding sounds, but the barrier didn't budge an inch. Su Ren's dagger struck the barrier with a ding. The dagger was flung back, and the impact sent a numbing shock up Su Ren's arm. He stumbled backward again and again. Fire Woman's face was full of disbelief. How is this possible? How is your defense so strong? Her fireballs were incredibly powerful. They could burn a huge hole through even the body of Giant Han. Yet they couldn't even break through my defensive barrier. I casually took out the card that increases my own ability's strength by 100% and crushed it. Nothing's impossible. With just the little bit of skill you all have, you think you can kill me? In that instant, I felt my absolute defense barrier become even more solid, and another piece of information popped into my mind. The side effects that come with my ability had also been boosted by 100%. In other words, if I were to urinate right now, there would be an extra 1.332 milliliters of urine. I'd lose 10 strands of hair, 6 eyebrow hairs, I'd metabolize 200 red blood cells, generate 16 E. coli bacteria, 4 paramecia, 2 H2O molecules, and also 1,980,000. But this wasn't the time to think about all that. In my hand, I still had a card that could transfer the side effects of my ability to an opponent. I locked my target onto Fire Woman. I crushed the card, and silently chanted in my mind, transfer the side effects of my ability to Fire Woman. A mechanical voice sounded. Rule card activated. Ability side effects transferred to participant. The moment the mechanical voice sounded, Fire Woman's face suddenly turned deathly pale. Her hair began to fall out in huge clumps, and her eyebrows started shedding too. She clutched her head and shrieked in pain. My head, it hurts so much. Why is so much of my hair falling out? I chuckled to myself. These were the side effects of my ability. Although these side effects might seem insignificant when they appear so suddenly, they can still cause a great deal of trouble for an opponent. Especially for Fire Woman. She was in the middle of activating her ability, and being suddenly hit with these side effects caused her ability to instantly go haywire. The fireballs she was creating spun out of control. They hurtled towards Su Ren, who was standing beside her. He couldn't dodge in time, and a fireball struck his arm, instantly burning a large hole through it. He roared in pain. The healer woman tried to heal him, but I threw a piece of metal that struck her on the wrist. The healing light vanished instantly. Seizing the opportunity, I charged toward them. Although my ability isn't offensive, I can make use of my environment. And I can exploit the conflict between them to reap the rewards. The situation in the arena descended into chaos once more. Because the side effects were transferred to Fire Woman, her condition plummeted. Su Ren was burned by the fireball. She grew resentful of the Flame Woman, and a rift formed between them. The healer woman was overwhelmed and couldn't help them anymore. And that brute took this chance to charge at the Flame Woman. He wanted revenge for the corroding threads from before, while I hid to the side, observing the situation again. At the same time, I kept an eye on that transparent woman, who had a very low presence. This woman was just too strange. From the start of the game until now, she had been standing in the same spot, neither grabbing cards nor attacking others. She hadn't even activated her ability once, as if this whole game had nothing to do with her. But anyone who can survive to the end in this ordeal is definitely no ordinary person. Her ability is probably even more bizarre than the Notebook Man's. She's just been hiding it, unwilling to reveal it. And then there's the Invisible Man. Ever since his ability was restored, he hasn't appeared again. He's obviously observing from the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Time passed, bit by bit. The number of people in the arena dwindled. The brute took out the Flame Woman, only to be sneak attacked by Su Ren. He was killed on the spot. After Su Ren dealt with the brute, she got into a brawl with the healer woman and the seer. In the end, all three were severely injured. All of them were taken out by the Invisible Man from the shadows. After the Invisible Man dealt with them, he was about to charge at me. But he was taken out in one move by the transparent woman, who suddenly struck. He didn't even have a chance to fight back. In just a few short hours, the 11 opponents in the arena were down to just the transparent woman and me. Less than 48 hours remained on the 72-hour countdown. The arena became unnaturally quiet. There was only the cold metal floor, and the scattered rules, cards, and residual traces of abilities. The transparent woman finally moved from her spot. She walked towards me, step by step, a calm smile still on her face, as if she were just taking a stroll. The transparent woman spoke, her voice very gentle, completely at odds with her aura. "You're strong, stronger than I imagined." I watched her, my heart filled with vigilance. "You're not so bad yourself. Hiding for so long, and you finally decided to make a move. So tell me, what is your ability? Stop being so secretive. There are only the two of us left in the arena now. There's no need to pretend anymore." The transparent woman stopped, standing 10 meters away from me. She raised a hand to brush a stray hair from her forehead and said softly, "My ability is actually very simple. It's called non-existence. From the beginning of the game until now, you should have noticed, no one pays any attention to me. Even if they do notice, they forget very quickly. Once my ability is activated, all opponents will subconsciously ignore me. Even if I'm standing right in front of them, they'll think I'm just air." My heart sank. Just as I thought, this ability is terrifying. Non-existence means she can get close to an opponent anytime, anywhere, and launch a sneak attack. But the opponent was completely unaware. The invisible man was taken down in one move because he ignored her. I immediately asked, "Then why are you only showing yourself now?" The transparent woman said flatly, "Because it wasn't necessary. When everyone else was still here, all I had to do was hide myself and reap the benefits. But since you've already noticed me and have remembered my presence, there's no longer any need for me to hide." It was then that I understood. So her power has a weakness. As long as an opponent clearly notices her and remembers that she exists, her power of non-existence becomes useless. I went on to ask, "Then what's your offensive ability? You can't just rely on non-existence without any attack power, right?" "My offensive ability is rule manipulation." A smile crept across the transparent woman's face. "Actually, I didn't come from some ordinary weird tale. I was a candidate to be the successor of the previous world's will. I was just one step short of succeeding, so the worlds will throw me into this new weird tale. Besides my power of non-existence, I can also slightly manipulate the rules. For example, I can change the price you pay for using your power, or I can make your absolute defense temporarily ineffective." The moment she finished speaking, I instantly felt my absolute defense barrier begin to waver. An invisible force was trying to tear my barrier apart, and my hair started falling out in clumps. My eyebrows were falling out too. The cost was even more severe than the one I'd transferred to the flame woman. I was horrified. This is bad, she can really manipulate the rules. I immediately took out the card that blocks an opponent's ability perception. I crushed it, targeting the transparent woman. Rule card activated. Participant, transparent woman's ability perception has been blocked. Duration, 10 minutes. The moment the mechanical voice rang out, the smile on the transparent woman's face vanished instantly. She frowned. She could clearly feel that her ability perception was blocked, leaving her unable to manipulate the rules. She could no longer tear through my absolute defense, and the horrible feeling I had vanished in an instant. My hair and eyebrows stopped falling out. A strange glint appeared in the transparent woman's eyes. "Oh, so you even have a card like this?" Clearly, she didn't expect me to have so many aces up my sleeve. I sneered, "You make a move, I'll make a counter. Whatever you throw at me, I can handle it. You can manipulate the rules, and I can block your perception. We're on even ground now." The transparent woman's face darkened. She knew that for these 10 minutes, with her ability perception blocked, she was no threat to me at all. And since my absolute defense was still up, she couldn't hurt me either. The transparent woman said, "Even if you've blocked my perception, you'll still be dead in 10 minutes. My rule manipulation isn't something an ordinary card like yours can stop. The power of the world's will is beyond anything you can imagine." I looked at her calmly and said, "Then let's put that to the test. In these 10 minutes, I have countless ways to finish you." With that, I charged toward the transparent woman. Even though my own power has no offensive capability, I still have a card that randomly spawns one rare resource from the weird tail world in the arena. I can use this card to spawn an offensive item to take her out. Seeing this, the transparent woman immediately turned and ran. Model. She's fast. She clearly has some kind of speed-enhancing ability. I chased right after her, crushing the rare resource card in my hand. The rule card activated. The arena randomly refreshed. Weird Story World's rare resource. Ability Amplification Sword. The ability Amplification Sword can temporarily grant its wielder an offensive ability. A single slash can break through any ability barrier. Duration: 10 minutes. A longsword, shimmering with a golden light, fell from the arena's sky. It landed right in front of me. I snatched the longsword. Instantly, I felt a powerful energy surge through my body. A golden sword aura appeared in my hands, powerful enough to cut through any ability barrier. When the transparent woman saw the ability Amplification Sword in my hands, her face instantly turned pale. She knew she had finally met her match. She stopped running. Instead, she turned to face me, trying to break through my card shield within the next 10 minutes. And regain control of the rules. But I wasn't going to give her that chance. I raised my hand and swung, sending a golden slash of energy flying toward the transparent woman. The transparent woman tried to block it with her body, but the energy wave pierced right through her. Her body dissolved into a wisp of green smoke, trying to escape, but it was locked in place by the power of the world's will. Her soul was ripped out, and she vanished completely from the arena. With the transparent woman gone, I was the only one left in the arena. A cold, mechanical voice echoed through the arena. Congratulations, participant Gongsheng, you have survived the 72-hour ability Gambit and become the sole victor. Unlocking the privilege of becoming the successor to the world's will. Will you choose? 1. Become the successor to the world's will and control all the weird story worlds. Modify all rules. 2. Take all your rewards and return to the real world. You will never be summoned by a weird story again. At the same time, two choices appeared in my mind. Become the successor to the world's will, and control all the weird stories. It sounded very tempting. To have supreme power, the ability to change any rule. I would never have to fear being summoned again. I could even control the life and death of others. But then I thought of Lin Shui and Lu Yang. I thought of Chen Cheng and Lu Jiangguo. I thought of all the people who died in the weird stories. Some of them just wanted to survive. Some just wanted to bring their last words back to the real world. Others just wanted to collect data for their country. The worlds will treat people like chess pieces, getting rid of them when it gets bored. I don't want that kind of power. Besides, I'm just a normal person. Before I was transported here, I was just a regular guy at home, watching the Summit War and arguing about who was stronger, Akainu or Whitebeard. All I want is to take my winnings and Lin Shui's hard drive, and go back to the real world to live a quiet life. And while I'm at it, I can fulfill his final wish and give his research data to his team. That way, they can uncover the secrets of the weird story world and prevent more people from being dragged into them. So, without any hesitation, I chose the second option. I choose to return to the real world. Confirm selection. Unsealing all rewards for participant Gongsheng. Opening return passage to the real world. The moment the mechanical voice finished, a giant rift tore open in the arena's sky. From the rift came the familiar feeling of the real world. At the same time, everything that had been sealed away from me. Everything returned to me. Lin Shui's hard drive, the bank card with over 2 billion, and all the things I bought in the supernatural world. Even my hand signs and my special ability were completely preserved. The worlds will even optimize my ability, removing the drawback of being monitored by everyone. From now on, my ability is mine alone. I no longer have to worry about being killed if someone figured it out. I glanced back at the cold arena, at the opponents who had died in the struggle. I felt a mix of emotions. These supernatural challenges were never a game. It was a life and death struggle. The ones who made it out alive all climbed their way up over the bodies of others. I stepped into the return portal. The rift slowly closed behind me, and the image of the arena gradually disappeared. In its place were familiar city streets and the sound of car horns. The hustle and bustle of the crowd. I was really back in the real world. I looked down at myself. The loungewear I had on had changed back to the casual outfit I was wearing before I was transported. I was holding Lin Shui's hard drive, and the bank card with over 2 billion was in my pocket. My special ability was also still crystal clear in my mind. I walked to a convenience store on the side of the road and bought a bottle of water. I glanced at the digital clock in the convenience store. The time displayed was the exact moment I had been transported. Not a single minute or second had passed. It was as if all my experiences in the supernatural world had all been just a dream. But the hard drive and bank card in my hands and the power in my mind told me it had all been real. I took out my phone. It still had a charge. I dialed the phone number that Lin Shui had left on the hard drive. The phone rang a few times before it was picked up. A calm man's voice came through. "Hello, who's this? My name is Gongsheng. I'm a friend of Lin Shui's. She asked me to deliver some research data to you." The other end of the line went silent for a few seconds. Then, an excited voice asked, "Mr. Gongsheng? You're alive? How is Lin Shui?" "We haven't been able to contact her for a long time." I said softly, my heart aching. "Lin Shui. She died in the supernatural world. She asked me to give you this hard drive. It contains her research data on the supernatural world, as well as secrets about the world's will." The line went silent again. After a long pause, a heavy sigh came through the phone. "We understand. Mr. Gongsheng, thank you. Could you please tell us your location? We'll send someone to pick you up right away. We also need to arrange a funeral for Lin Shui. She was a hero to our team." I gave them my location. After hanging up, I leaned against the door of the convenience store. Watching the endless stream of traffic, my mind was a whirlwind of emotions. Before long, a black van pulled up in front of me. Several people in white lab coats got out of the van. When they saw the hard drive in my hand, their eyes filled with excitement and reverence. They helped me into the van. We headed to the research base where Lin Shui had worked. The facility was located deep in the mountains. It was heavily guarded. Inside, there were many other scientists, just like Lin Shui. They were all working hard to unravel the secrets of the supernatural world. I handed them the hard drive, and they immediately started their research. Meanwhile, I settled down at the base. Lin Shui's funeral was very simple. Only the members of the research team attended. Every single person's face was etched with sorrow. I stood before Lin Shui's gravestone and placed a white chrysanthemum on it. I whispered, "Lin Shui, I did it. I brought your data back. I've fulfilled your final wish for you. You can rest in peace now." In the days that followed, I stayed at the research base, recounting all of my experiences in the world of strange tales. To the scientists, including the rules, including the special abilities and the secrets of the world's will. And based on Lin Shui's hard drive and my experiences, they solved many mysteries of the world of strange tales. They developed methods to prevent being marked by the strange tales, as well as techniques for survival within them. And I, using my own special abilities and wealth, provided the research base with a great deal of funding and support, so they could more quickly figure out a way to overcome the strange tales. My special abilities also came in handy in the real world. I could use absolute defense to protect myself and those around me. I could also use my abilities to make money. Every time I formed the hand seals and shouted that phrase, "Who fixed the great dam after using the toilet?" 990,000 would appear in my bank account. Over time, my wealth grew and grew, and I took this money and donated most of it to the research base and to the families who had lost loved ones in the strange tales. I'd still occasionally watch the Summit War at home, but every time I saw the hand seals on the screen, I would remember those days in the world of strange tales. I'd remember Lin Shui, remember Lu Yang, and remember all the people who died. I would also occasionally form the hand seals and shout that phrase, "The great dam, who fixed it?" Feeling the barrier of absolute defense, feeling the reality of still being alive. That day, I sat on the roof of the research base, watching the distant sunset. In my hand, I held a photo of Lin Shui. In the photo, she, with her cool, aloof face, wore a faint smile. A breeze blew past, and I seemed to hear that familiar voice by my ear again. "Welcome to the world of rule-based strange tales." But I was no longer afraid, because I knew I had survived the strange tales. I now had the power to protect myself and the people around me. And I would keep working hard, so that more people would no longer be marked by the strange tales, and no longer experience such partings by death. And that phrase, "Who fixed the great dam, was no longer just a slogan to save my life in the strange tales, but proof that I was alive. It was a memorial to those who died in the strange tales. Life goes on. The threat of the strange tales might still be out there, but I will always carry Lin Shui's wish. Carry the hopes of those who died, and live my life to the fullest. Protecting this real world, so full of life and warmth.